using that? Does anyone have any experience with this?
I've never used it. Only what we're watching you do.
That's funny. Okay, and I want to share this. So what is the link? All right, so let's share this with Carol and wiki broadcast. Okay, so I think that means anyone can see it, and I think they're anonymous, and they should be able to chat though.
Who's that man on your shoulder?
Who is this man? All right, hello. So hopefully they'll chat us when they get there.
So are Ann and Kirill at this thing?
They are not here yet.
So will we see them, or they're just seeing you?
So look, we have one viewer now. So they're just gonna see us. So unlike a chat or a GoToMeeting or something, we are just broadcasting what we're doing. They should be able to get in the group chat over here. Oh, I see they're both on. So you guys should have an option to type in a chat box somewhere. In fact, can I show?
How do you know they're there?
Because I can see there are two visitors. Yeah. Okay, so this is their live chat box. Funny. All right, well, I'm going to close this window because that's probably going to mess us up. Here it is. Okay.
3.
Maybe Lisa got it. If it goes up to 4, we'll worry.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
That's the world.
That's the world. Okay, so you guys hopefully can put in the chat box if you guys have anything that you want to share. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start and say kind of what I was hoping to get out of this meeting. And oh yes, also Matt, Nancy, John, and Dave. And after I get done kind of saying what I was thinking, I want to go around in a circle here, and then for our folks on the chat, hopefully, to tell us, you know, what do you normally use the wiki for? What is the thing that you go there for the most often? And what are some of the biggest challenges you have with either finding something or using things that are on the wiki? Those don't have to be huge, just, you know, just general thoughts that you have about it. So, open up my document again. I don't understand why this is happening. Okay. So I know that you guys can't see my screen. When we shared the screen originally, it was, what do you call it, duplicating, mirroring in the background. So I would think that this is going to be more of a discussion than looking at my screen anyway. So I'll just kind of read everything out loud. Basically, I wanted to explain why I had changed the name of the wiki to the knowledge base when I switched it over to the new platform. Basically, I wanted to break us away from the tradition a little bit and think about what these words mean to us and how that reflects how we use it. You know, just kind of conceptually saying that, you know, we don't have to call it the knowledge base. We don't have to call it the wiki. In fact, we can have separate things that are called different things, and just kind of give us an opportunity to think about how that reflects our usage. So why do I want to change the current system? What's wrong with it? So we just have a very common issue that almost every office has, especially offices who have digital documentation like this, is we just have too much content, and it just makes it difficult to keep organized and to keep updated. Now, I think we actually do a really good job, relatively speaking, of keeping it updated. I can look through the documentation and see that, you know, every other year or something, we've sent out emails and had people check their content and make sure that it's correct. So that's really good. But it is still kind of a lot of manpower to spend on that kind of thing. And because it's sort of a complex system, we just don't necessarily use the same standards for when to create an article, how to do that article, and where it goes, and subsequently where to find it. So it also presents a challenge when we're migrating to different platforms, which we have to imagine that we will do every 2 to 5 years, because that's how the internet and computers work. We need to be able to move our content fairly easily. And the volume of content and the fact that we have a lot of attachments, for instance, will limit the things that we can choose to do in the future. Do we need to get rid of stuff? Yes and no. I don't, like I said to these guys earlier, I don't think that we're using any of our wiki pages inappropriately or that the content is not valuable. But when you put everything kind of together over a long period of time, there probably are things that we need to get rid of. But the larger problem has to do with making the documentation more useful and accessible. So there might be a lot of different ways that we could do that. We could divide up our content a little more thoroughly, like, for instance, there are a lot of pages on data ingest for our cruise data. There are probably 2 to 3 people at any given time that will access that. Does it make sense to move that out into like some different section of, maybe has its own protocol and standards for updating those pages? And I'm sure everyone here can think of an example of sort of very specific job-specific pages that they're maintaining, mostly themselves. We could use more subject tags. So, one of the problems that we have is we have a hierarchy. Where does it go in the hierarchy? Where do I look in the hierarchy? That kind of thing. And the search is helpful, but it's only helpful if you already know it's in the article, so that you can find a keyword that matches it. So we could, for instance, have a subject tag system that makes it a little more thorough to make sure you've actually checked all the pages that you need to check when you're looking for something. And let's see, another option would be we can kind of clean out the wiki by removing some more historical information. A good example of this is a lot of the stuff that Alex has in there about how to maintain web pages that is not accurate anymore. And normally I just, have obsolete at the top. I think a lot of people do it that way. Don't read this page or direct to this page or something like that. And we could make a concerted effort to identify those, like maybe write up something and take them out altogether.
You had said, I think you had said previously that we can take some of that old content, put it together somewhere else completely.
Maybe, yeah, absolutely. We could even have, I think it would be more helpful to condense it to say like, and then this happened and this, so it's like, whatever, 1 page for 10 pages. But, we could keep all the pages if you want to archive it somewhere. Those are obviously just different ways that we could go. I also think we need to identify things that are ephemeral content, things that we're not necessarily going to want to keep for the long term. So like when we go to meetings and we have our reports on those meetings, after a year, we are probably not going to reference those pages again. We want to know that we went to that meeting, probably. But the actual content links to things, these things are going to start to get very obsolete very quickly. And so I would like if we could put kind of stuff like that, maybe even like committee meetings that we have into something that is going to archive after a year or two. And I say archive, but maybe we need to remove them. We could even have a system where, hey, your page is about to reach its 1-year limit. Would you like to save it, or would you like to move it into some more permanent placement that puts it makes it a better reference for people. And I would also like us to think, we don't have to decide today or anything, but is this a good place to store documents? Because we actually have a lot of pages that are like flyers and PowerPoints and reports that are mostly just attachments. And is this a helpful way for using those? And if it isn't, how can we make it better, or how can we use a different method of accessing those? So basically, those are my thoughts. I don't think we'll have time to go over everything today, but I wanted to kind of, hey. To kind of get, you know, an impression if maybe I'm missing something, or maybe, you know, you think some aspect of what I just said, you know, it's completely wrong, or there's something valuable that I'm missing, okay? Sorry for babbling a little bit.
No, that's fine.
All right, so, hey, Kirill and Anne, are you guys on the line? Can you chat something for me? No? All right.
So it looks like they're watching.
It does look like they're watching us, but I can't tell. Let me
Look
check.
at the two viewers instead of.
Yeah, at least it was probably like, That doesn't look interesting. Let's see. Check my email if I can find the freaking window that it was in. All right, well, they haven't sent me any emails either. Okay.
Do you want me to talk a little, or do you want to resolve that?
Well, it's 9:30. I think we should just go ahead and.
I'll see if they called. If they didn't call.
Okay. If they didn't call, they don't care. All right. We're gonna check and see if you guys called. Yeah, this is my first live stream.
Oh,
Yeah. I could just keep it for forever and as a reminder of how not to do a live stream. No? Okay. All right, guys, hope you're following along. But anyway, so Matt's going to go ahead, or we're going to go ahead in the circle, and Matt's going to tell us his thoughts about wiki.
so since you changed, since the wiki has gone where it is now, I haven't really been using it that much. Although I use the news parts of it for social media. And I do think you're talking about the reports, meeting reports and things.
Yeah.
I do think that, I don't know how others feel, but I think those are important. I do find that I do go back to like 3 and 4 years ago sometimes to check on things.
Like what?
To if an issue comes up that's related to something that a number of us attended, it's helpful. An issue related to
like whether
the content of. I mean, I'm just talking in a hypothetical.
No, that's okay.
Now. I do occasionally go back to it. I mean, so I guess I use the wiki mostly for that as a reference tool. We had the blog attached to it previously. We're not really using the blog now, the staff blog. The staff blog came out of people using LibStaff too much. And so people used it to alert people to interesting things that, but I haven't been using that. And I don't know that anybody else is using it. Anne could comment on that since she was the main user of it. But I thought that was a decent function. And then it was like things like if something goes wrong with the copy machines here, the information for the copy machines is in there. So there was a whole bunch of, and again, I haven't looked to see where that information is now, but there was a whole bunch of information related to things that come up in our office that was solution based information,
Mhm.
which I think is good stuff to have in there.
Right. Just a note,
Yeah.
you guys, all of this stuff should be exactly where you left it. So if there's something that is not in the wiki in the place that it is supposed to be, can you guys alert me so that I can put it in the right place? Because nothing is supposed to be missing at this point. Okay. Right.
No, that's okay. I think maybe it's just other priorities. I haven't taken the time to really look at it. When you first did the migration, I was looking at it and so on, and I just have to realize that the old wiki's not there, and I need to take the time to look for things in the new wiki. I don't know. That's what I have to say.
Since the migration, I have looked at it, and initially, when I did see the stats, I don't that so I have used it for that. I use it for like troubleshooting, like Matt said, office issues, or it's nice to have the password and all that kind of stuff in one place. I don't really have a sense that when it was initially created that there were any like guidelines, for what the purpose of it was. So I think that maybe contributes to the junk drawer kind of effect, and so this is good that we're discussing, how long to keep things in there or what's really important, what should it be used for, because I don't think we've ever collectively done that. Maybe whoever was in charge of it, made those decisions. So I think that's really good. I always had problems finding things. I wasn't sure, for instance, maybe forms, like where are the forms, or, why are certain photos still in here, or, things like that, I certainly don't use every area of it, but, simplification and purpose, clarifying those things, I think would be really, really helpful. Maybe in terms of meeting or conference notes, maybe 2 years as opposed to 1 year sometimes, unless people are keeping that information on their own, computer, which probably we are, where you can go back and check something. But I know sometimes I'll wonder, okay, well, who was that again that was there, and I want to reference that. And so
That's what I was talking about.
Speakers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do find that I go back and look at speakers stuff a lot.
yeah, so stuff like that. Certainly, I guess if it's something I've attended, then I probably would also have that on my computer as opposed to it being solely on the wiki. So, but for other people, if somebody's referenced somebody, I might not have access to that. So maybe a little longer than a year.
Oh, there I am.
Sorry, also, by the way, they say that they can't type or we can't see that they're typing for some reason.
Oh, but they can hear us.
Apparently they can see and hear us.
Purple.
John, it's just realistic.
But okay, so I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on this, probably because I would say that with the exception of every once in a while I'll go on and read notes from like a conference or a workshop that somebody went to, because I'll see that like in an email or something, and so I'll go into the wiki and read the notes on that. But I almost have no reason to use the wiki. I find just in what I do, like I generally don't generate stats that I would need to put there, or I have almost no reason to use it in the things that I do these days. And I'm not, and that's not to say that I think it's not a useful tool, because I realize that in other people's roles, they do need to go there a lot. And maybe there are things that I should be documenting and putting there that I'm not, but nobody has told me otherwise. So, wow, do you think I should be documenting some stuff?
No, I think the same, that maybe there's something that I do in my job that I should document there.
Yeah. So maybe in addition to thinking about the mechanics of the wiki and the search and how to add things and everything, like, maybe this is probably something for Lisa and Jen to think a little bit more about, but to look at the things that we all do and say, well, a lot of this information does need to be documented. Are there things that maybe that should be up there about, the work that I do that I'm not doing, so I think for me, a lot of the question marks with the wiki is, do I need to participate in it more, and are there things that I'm not doing that I should be doing, but I think, I've gone on and the new format where it's all kind of, condensed into almost like a user page within the website, and everything's there. I kind of like it. I liked a lot of your ideas about adding subject headings and potential expiration dates on stuff. I would be a big fan of blowing a lot of stuff out of there, and I don't feel that like a great example is all the stuff about Alex and how we deployed the old website. I would just hit the delete button on that. Keeping that, or like keeping a summary of that, to me is like keeping the manual for a toast that you had 3 years ago.
I do have that.
Yeah, so it's like, I think that's the librarian. Librarians are probably the worst people to maintain a wiki, because it's like they don't want to get rid of anything. But a lot of it, and meeting notes, I would keep those. Like I haven't, that stuff is kind of interesting to go back and see. But on policies and procedures and technical documentation for stuff that just doesn't exist, because it just kind of, it gums up the works a little bit, and if you want to do keyword searching for like, website and everything, you're probably going to get tons of pages on a deployment scheme that we, none of us actually ever knew how to use. So those are kind of some of my thoughts, but in terms of like, I do believe we tried to do like a deletion project a while ago, and like people got different assignments. I think if you want to do like a deletion project, you need a meeting like this where everybody's in the room and you go through the page, say, okay, here's one. Anybody have a reason for keeping it? And be like, yay or nay, delete.
You need an afternoon workshop.
Yeah, you need a deletion workshop. Maybe once a year. Because otherwise, like, because nobody wants to make that decision by themselves. So anyway, those are some of my thoughts on it. But I like the way that you pulled it all into the website, and I would like it to try and stay that way, just because I would hate to bring up yet another tool where we're keeping,
That's been good.
I like that there's like the one login system.
Right.
I mean, I certainly need to work on the interface a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
Usable, but I definitely like the way it functions a little better. I'm not having to go to a different site for everything.
And I think the is it a weekly email that you get? That's like a summary of it. I think that's useful too. And it would be interesting to, look at those emails like after a year, because those show all the updated pages, like, or you can probably just run a report out of Drupal, but those will show you the relevant pages in there, the ones that people keep updating. So,
and that's also a good point. I turned on the stats, so I should at some point, after we've been using the site a while, be able to tell us which pages in the wiki were looked at the most and which ones were not accessed at all, that kind of thing. So that might be helpful. Hopefully that. Yes.
Yeah. I also very rarely use the wiki. I'll read meeting summaries, and generally I'll go on there to look for older documentation, procedures, things like that. But because of the fact that I go there so rarely, I never remember where anything is. So I always spend more time. So it's kind of this self-reinforcing thing where it's never my tool of choice to go to look for things because of that. I think meeting minutes should be kept, meeting summaries should be kept a little longer, or at least if they could be put in a place where they can be referenced easily. Because I do go back, like Matt, several years. If there's a new project that I remember some NEA meeting had something about, I'll go back and read notes and things like that. Yeah, it's really rare that I use it. But I think it could be used. I mean, I would like to see more procedures up there. I'd be glad to put my procedures up there, but like I said, I just don't use it, so it's never something that crosses my mind to go and use.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to check my email and see if maybe they decided to send us anything by email. Otherwise, I guess I could just get their thoughts on it and email it to you guys. Hold on. Keep minimizing these things. I can't find them. Oh, here we go. Watching but can't chat. Type, oh, we are listening. Okay. Hey guys. So
If you have anything to say, send us an email.
if you want to say anything right now, you can go ahead and send me an email. Or actually, you know what? I wonder if I can call. Why don't I? Kirill, I'm going to try to call your cell phone real quick. See if we can get reception. I might need to mute this. Just since we have like 5 minutes. Maybe.
I can hear you.
Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey Kirill.
Hey.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't use it as much. I guess. Yeah, I do read, different things that people post there and here, but it's not really something that I utilize much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should. I do have some issues with the way content organized there, I think, because I feel like certain things, like the procedures and stuff, for example, that I have, what you call it? Oh my gosh, the joy of the joy book that's in there and all that stuff. I think it would have probably been better off somewhere like in the media wiki kind of platform where you can edit it on a file. You can see the backlogs of how it was edited very easily compared to the way it's done.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think agree with what everyone else was saying.
Okay. Yeah, just for reference, you guys, Ellen kept her notebooks extremely organized and everything, but none of it really, I mean, there's a document, but there is nothing on the wiki really about the systems protocol. Or there is, I'm actually not sure if those pages are updated, but anyway, so yeah, that's what he's talking about. Do you think Anne wants to say anything? Should I call her?
Yeah, do you want to say anything? Yeah.
She's got her headphones on, I bet.
Oh, she just sent you an email.
Oh, okay. I will look at that.
Alright, I gotta hang up because it's weird because the headphones are delayed and the phone is doing one thing.
Okay, bye.
Alright, I can bye.
Anne says, I like using the wiki for documenting procedures.
Okay.
So that's good. I'll see if I can drag some more detail out of her a little later. So we're almost we're almost at 9:50. So I won't try to hold people too much longer because I don't think we're going to make any decisions at this point. But I think this has been really helpful for me to kind of get a better idea of how everyone's using the wiki and what you want to get out of it. And hopefully we can have maybe a couple more meetings down the line to really actually make decisions that are okay with everybody.
And like we said, an afternoon kind of,
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So yeah, maybe there'll be a an afternoon get together with some cookies and whatnot, and
Yeah.
keep our blood sugar up. All right, great. Well, I really appreciate everybody's time, and thanks for bearing with me with the scheduling and the hangout. And please send me an email if you have thoughts on this later. That might be helpful. Also, so. Or Matt, would you like to add something?
Are we gonna have are you running the staff meeting, the next staff meeting?
I think John is.
John Furphy?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
I think it's on the 24th.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what the agenda is, so
Okay.
I might be open to talking about it. If you want.
Thank you for putting this meeting together, Audrey.
You're welcome.
No, it's great. Now we've been initiated.
This has been an Audrey Taylor production.
A production, right. Always a production. All right, guys, thank you for listening. I'm gonna go ahead and hang up now. See you in a minute. Or actually, I'll see you this afternoon.